100 tips in 10 minutes for Operation Crimson Heist, which is in fact one tip every 6 seconds. This video did take hours on end to make, so if it does help you out, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. We haven't got time to spare and we're already late. Let's get going. Tip number 1 is some drone parkour you can pull off with Flores. If you get your drone up here, you can come onto this little ledge here. If you detonate it just at the right time, you'll explode it and it'll kill anyone there. Another Flores parkour trick is similar here. You come along the ventilation on the top roof here, explode it at this second here, and you will be able to take out anyone there. A great Habana pellet trick, you'll need some soft destruction too. Put 2 pellets here, detonate it, put another 2 pellets, detonate it, and you have a multiple hole. With Flores, you can actually pick up your drone once you've set it off. You can actually drop a drone on someone's head by opening the hatch before your Flores drone actually goes down it. On coastline, if you send a Flores drone through this vent here, it's going to stick onto the side and kill anyone holding the stairs. You can take out a whole mirror on a soft wall with your Flores drone too, which is a great trick to have. If you're looking to take out a K-Claw on the clubhouse hatch, you use your Flores drone, position it correctly, and bam. You can send on multiple Flores drones at one go, which is great for baiting. A great parkour trick you can pull off to get on the roof of border, get some crazy angles, is simply by rappelling in the right direction. You'll have to do this a few times. While the new Gone 6 gadget will swap out your secondary, it only does 20 damage. Tip 12 is to make use of the match replay feature, which is now available for VOD reviews. Tip number 13 is that you can mute jam claymores, which is great for runouts. You can also mute jam a nomad air jab too, and it works the same way. They have changed the recoil on the G36, and here is what it looks like now on the test server. I'm running the angle grip and a flash hider here. Another tip is that you can now set custom games to 30 minutes. A tip for Line is that he is annoying because of the sound the ability makes when it goes off, not because of the scan. Another tip is that you should be banning operators based upon the map, especially when doing your placements. Sometimes with mute you might want to rearrange your jammers so that they're going to be more aggressive and set up for entry points instead. This will be after the prep phase. With Twitch, it's very difficult to take out core utility, which is why you need to throw your drone into sight because it's very hard to get it in when it can't jump. Tip number 21 is one for the Ash mains. Your goal is to gain map control, not rush in and leave after. When using Echo, you want to be using his ability as a mobile camera, gain intel, move it around now that it is not invisible. It's a lot easier for them to take it out. When playing Jackal, you don't always need to scan your footprints, you can follow them and move them around. This can be useful for a stealth approach. A great combination is Maestro and Aruni. The Maestro camera can reset Aruni's gates after they've expired. You can do this with her little sensor at the top of the gate. Now tip 25 is when you are downed as Zafia, make sure to revive yourself and withstand. It is a great ability to have. Oh wait. You can't. Well, moving on, I'd recommend you to bait out a quick peek using the knife technique. It'll expose only the knife and the hand, and it's very hard for the defenders to see. It's very useful when you have 0 intel and 0 drones. A Cade and Goyo trick you can pull off on console at Garage is when you place a Goyo shield down, place the Cade claw underneath, and it will stop any vertical play. You do want to be using your eye on holograms to get a quick refrag, having a teammate coming behind and taking anyone out. Not can in fact walk through Alibi's holograms when her ability is going to be active. Tip number 30 is that Thatcher can in fact counter clash with the EMP and it will disable her shocking ability. Ella and Zafia no longer get a shorter stun time when they get hit by a concussion because the law does not affect it now. Capital's ability can go through a bullet hole with his smoke and his fire, and this is very useful to have. On top of that, for tip number 34, it's also going to work with Ash. Her breaching rounds can go through a bullet hole too. Another great tip is 1.5x scopes aren't going to be affected by Thatcher's EMP. On top of that, the 3x scope is also not going to be affected by any Thatcher EMPs. As well, the ACOG is also another sight that isn't going to be affected by Thatcher EMPs, and you will have your reticle still up. On the other hand, for tip 38, your laser sight will go down and it will be affected by a Thatcher EMP. On top of that, the holographic is also another sight that gets affected by a Thatcher EMP for tip number 39. Tip number 40 is something a lot of players need to realise: swapping to your sidearm is a lot faster than reloading. Don't be too heavy on the reload. You can very easily pull off a nade from below trick to take out anyone holding a common anchor spot, like here on border. Another great tip for that is to stand 6 meters away from it using the ping system, and then time it, and on the 6th blinker it should go off correctly. An updated Maverick hatch technique. You want to be using a T shape when you're going to be going across it, and it's very easy to do so like this. Number 44 is a great trick to counter Rooney with Flores. Activate your bulletproof ability whilst jumping through it, it disables it and the explosion still goes off. A great Malusi spot you can pull off on border is using the parkour here, going up onto this little ledge here, and placing your gadget down here. A great spot for the rework border. Tip number 46, electrified barbed wire will take out a Flores drone immediately. Tip number 47 is that Mozzie is also going to counter Flores, but he won't be able to take control of it, it just will explode. Mute is also going to jam any Flores drones that get within the radius before it hits it. If a player on your team ends up dying and they have a Dokkaebi on the enemy team, they drop a phone, you can destroy that phone and Dokkaebi can no longer hack it. The next tip is that when you walk in front of a teammate's bullets and they accidentally team kill you, you have all the rights to team kill them back and initiate the vote to kick. If you want to tell the difference between an alibi hologram, whether it's real or fake, look at the goggles. If it's not foggy, it is going to be real, and if it has opaque goggles, then it will be a fake alibi. To take out a mirror window, simply shoot your zero camera within the vicinity of it, and you can take it out very easily hitting the canister. When facing a Kapkan trap as Monty, you want to face towards the Kapkan trap if you're going to be going through it and hitting it, because he will take less damage. Use this in situations where you have to go through it and you want to be facing directly towards it. You can destroy a Maestro camera with a Twitch drone by zapping it once, waiting it for it to open up, and then you can zap it again. When using a Dokkaebi ability, you only have to wait for it to fill up. You don't have to let her go through the whole animation. You can exit it early. In order to counter a clash, if you're using Guyana, you can send on your hologram through. Hopefully the player behind the clash is going to peek. Then your teammate can use that as a bait and take them out. Throw 3 yings at one time because they make a lot of noise to mask and cover the sound of the plant. Tip number 58 is to use your Dokkaebi ability when your teammate's about to plant to get an Echo or Maestro off their cameras. Therefore, they can't stop you from planting. There's a new change on the Clubhouse map where they've added another set of the Armory crates. Take advantage of Nomad and the chaos happening when that diffuser's down and use your air jabs to cover angles that the defenders are going to have to come through. As a Jackal player, you want to be thinking of the pings not as exact locations, but the general area. Tip number 62 is when you're scanning the footprints as Jackal, you want to pick the ones that are going to last for longer. If there are 2 pairs aside by each other, pick the one that has a colour that's going to last a longer time. When playing Frost, you can put a few extra Frost mats down after the prep phase so that the attackers haven't seen where you placed them. Another great tip is you can also change the positioning of your Frost mat afterwards so that the attackers are confused by it. When playing Melusi, you want to place down a Banshees in an uncomfortable place that the attacker's going to have to look up or down to find. All players need to start taking advantage of Oryx and remodeling and remapping the site. Rotations take 5 HP off him. If you're roaming as Kapkan, place down your Kapkan traps on site. Another tip for Kapkan is that if you're going to be lurking and shallow roaming near site, you want to place them down in that general area just outside of sight. In order to counter Ace, throw an impact grenade after the first hole goes off in order to take out the remaining breach. Tip number 70, if you're looking to counter Iona, mute jammers will do it, and when it gets in the radius, it can't activate. Another one, if you're looking to counter Jackal, again, a mute jammer is going to counter a Jackal when they get in the radius. And a great tip for playing Siege in general is pick mute, because he can counter a lot of things, including Flores' new drone. Next up, if you're looking to Maverick open a whole reinforced wall, go along the top first, then go along the bottom, use a sledge to take out the middle. Now, a great tip that not many players do know about is that Duck mains can actually heal with their revolver. Trust me, this is one I would highly recommend you to try out. A big tip for you console players out there is to focus on your positioning. You can win a lot more gunfights in position and not get penalised for the bad aim. Great tip is also to count your bullets. It's going to help with your reload, it's going to help with tracking your gunfights, and it's going to make everything a lot easier. 78, if you're struggling with FPS, use Vulcan. It's going to cap your FPS to 144, makes it a lot more stable. In many areas, you can block the door with a deplorable shield so that the attackers are not going to be able to get through and have to use utility on it. It's great on a lot of sites. Tip number 80, if you're looking to make a mini Maverick hole rotation you can get through, simply follow this pattern here and you can get through. Flores' drone can jump up very high and it can stick to surfaces too. Even many utility like a deplorable shield or a Maestro camera. If you're looking to gain a higher position with the Flores drone and stick it higher, jump up, exit the drone, and you will be able to stick it. The Flores drone does in fact have the same radius and explosion radius as a C4. A Flores drone can also be destroyed by an impact grenade on the defending side. Tip number 85 is that Flores' drone 2 can also be destroyed by a C4. Maverick can very easily take out a lot of utility, one of them being a deplorable shield with simply one use of his blowtorch. If a wall is electrified, it's not always the end of the world, you can get creative and do something like this. Tip number 88 is that it is also going to apply to a hatch too, put it on a soft surface and you can take it out. Using a smoke grenade and gridlock's ability is a very dirty combo to pull off and it works quite well. Don't upside down repel when you're playing Blackbeard, you want to use the regular repel because when you're upside down, it angles the shield in a certain position where the defenders have the advantage. 91. When playing Kavira, only interrogate when you know that player is alone. Number 92. Throw an alibi hologram outside so that you can know the attack inside with that red text. You can take out an electrified hatch with a ace charge by throwing it on a soft floor, similar to the thermite one. When playing Twitch, don't use your ability on the cameras outside, use it for utility and stuff on the inside. Number 95 is IQ can counter Vigil by seeing the scanner on his back when his ability is activated. IQ can also see Pulse's ability when he gets it out on her scanner too. IQ can also see the diffuser, which makes it great from holding from vertical plays when they are going to be diffusing. IQ can also see players on their phone or even when they're on their camera. Tip number 99 is that when Dokkaebi uses his ability, IQ can see them answering it. Tip number 100 is to be classy. Don't type GG easy, type GG well played. If you do need 100 more tips and tricks for Rainbow Six Siege, I've covered that too, and there'll be a card at the top right. Be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe if it did help.